Is your boss a nightmare and your coworkers are snakes, but you are still sitting there wondering if the problem is you? If you feel like you are losing your mind every time you start your shift, then you are in the right place, because today we are breaking down the signs of a toxic workplace before it breaks you. In the next few minutes, I am going to give you the ultimate survival guide to identifying toxic behavior in any industry and the exact steps to protect your sanity without losing your livelihood. Here is what we are going to cover today. The 7 types of toxic people who are hiding in plain sight at your job right now. Why good people stay silent and keep absorbing the damage. And what you can start doing this week to stop shrinking yourself around people who do not deserve that much space in your life. Let's start with something most people get wrong about toxic coworkers. They imagine someone loud, aggressive, obviously terrible. But in reality, the most damaging ones rarely show up like that. They are subtle, they are strategic, and often they are even quite charismatic. That is exactly what makes them so hard to deal with. You leave an interaction with a strange feeling and you cannot even properly explain why. So let's break each one down. Number 1. The credit thief. You built that. You stayed late, figured out how to solve the problem, did the work no one else wanted to touch. And then, in front of the right people, someone takes ownership of your effort as if it had always been theirs. The credit thief does not just steal once and disappear. They do it quietly, consistently, and always at the exact right moment. Timing is everything to them. The move here is simple, but most people never do it. Start creating a trail. After every important conversation, send a follow-up message. Even if it is short, just confirming what was decided and what you will be responsible for. It looks professional, it looks proactive, and it makes your contribution almost impossible to erase. Number 2, the eternal victim. It is never their fault. The deadline was impossible. The instructions were confusing. The tools were broken. Someone else did not do their part. There is always a reason, and the reason is never them. The exhausting part is not just that they avoid responsibility. It is that they drag everyone around them into the drama and somehow always end up with less pressure on them while everyone else silently overcompensates. And if you point this out, somehow you become the difficult one. Surviving this means you stop saving this person. Not dramatically, not as a statement, just quietly stop volunteering to clean up their mess. Let the situation play out. It is uncomfortable, but their consequences are not your responsibility to carry. Number 3, the information dealer. This person is always very curious about your opinion of the team, about what you think of management, about how you really feel about a decision that was made. They use phrases like "between us" and "just thought you should know" constantly. And somehow everything you say ends up in the wrong hands at the wrong time. The information dealer is not necessarily malicious. Sometimes they do it for social survival within a dysfunctional environment. But the result is the same. Trust them, and eventually it will cost you something. The rule here is simple. Anything you would not want your boss or your whole team to hear, do not say it around this person. Be warm, be friendly, but keep your real opinions about work and people at a surface level until trust is genuinely earned. Number 4, the chaos junkie. Some people only feel important when everything is on fire. If things are calm, they find something to stir up. If a project is going well, they add a last-minute complication. If the group is getting along, they plant just enough doubt to fragment everything. The chaos junkie thrives on urgency because urgency makes them central. They love being the one who solves the crisis even when they were the one who quietly created it. Your defense is structure, clear documentation, defined responsibilities, consistent communication. Chaos loses most of its power when it meets someone who refuses to be dragged into it. When things get unpredictable around this person, slow down, stay with the facts, and keep bringing the focus back to what was already agreed upon. Number 5, the passive-aggressive expert. It is fine. Do whatever you think is best. No, really, it is great. It is not great. This one is so frustrating because you can never confront them directly. Technically, nothing was said. There are no words you can point to. Just a tone, a pause, a very specific silence after something you proposed. You leave the conversation feeling like something is wrong, but you cannot name it. The only real way to deal with this is to gently drag things into the open. Not in a confrontational way. More like, hey, I want to ensure we are aligned on this. Is there anything about this direction that feels wrong to you? You provide a door. They usually will not walk through it. But naming the behavior consistently, calmly, over time changes the dynamic. They realize the strategy does not work the same way on you. Number 6, the slow confidence killer. This one is subtle and genuinely dangerous. They never attack you directly. They just ask questions at the worst possible moments. Are you sure about this approach? Right before you present something interesting, with a very particular expression. I just want to make sure we thought this through. Right when everyone was about to agree with you. Each individual comment feels small, but over weeks and months they add up. You start to question yourself before this person even opens their mouth. You over-explain. You apologize unnecessarily. You shrink yourself to avoid giving them material. The antidote is documentation. Not of them, of you. Keep a record of your achievements, contributions, problems you solved, positive feedback you received. On the days this person does their work, you need evidence. Confidence built on proof is much harder to erode than confidence that is just a feeling. Number 7, the toxic person in charge. This is the one that changes everything. Because when the toxic person has authority over you, all the usual advice becomes much harder to apply. The toxic leader can micromanage your every move. They can be completely unpredictable, warm one day and cold the next for no clear reason. They might humiliate people publicly to keep everyone else in line. Or they might be so disorganized and reactive that every day feels like starting from zero. Here is the hard part. You cannot fix this person. You cannot perform well enough to change them. You cannot be patient or strategic enough to make them become something they are not. What you can do is protect yourself while you decide what comes next. Build relationships with other people in the organization who can see your work. Keep records of specific situations, dates, what was said, what happened. Know what your real options are. And most importantly, be honest with yourself about what this environment is costing you. Your energy and your mental health are not infinite. They are not a price you should keep paying indefinitely for a situation that is not going to change. Now here is the part where I want you to stay for a second. Toxic environments survive because the healthiest people inside them stay quiet. Not because they are weak, but because they were taught that speaking up means being labeled as difficult or dramatic or not being a team player. So they absorb it. They adjust. They convince themselves that this is just how things are, that every workplace is like this, that maybe the problem is themselves. It is not. Recognizing these patterns does not make you bitter or negative. It makes you clear. And clarity is where things actually start to change. Your starting point this week is 3 things. First, document. Not obsessively, just consistently. Important conversations, decisions, your contributions. Protects you and brings you back to reality when someone is trying to make you doubt it. Second, stop isolating yourself. Toxic environments get more powerful the more alone you feel within them. Find your people inside or outside of work. Connection genuinely changes how much this kind of thing can hurt you. Third, know what your limit is. You do not have to leave tomorrow, but you need to know what would have to happen for you to say this is no longer worth it. Know that answer now before the moment arrives and you are too depleted to think clearly. Before you go, I need to ask you something, and I am genuinely curious. Which of these 7 did you recognize the most? And here is the harder question. Have you ever shown any of these patterns without realizing it? Even just a little bit, because of stress or survival mode in a job that was slowly turning you into someone you did not recognize? Drop it in the comments. You do not need to use names, but I want to know what this brought up for you. If this hit home, share it with someone who needs it. That person probably will not say they needed it, but they will watch the whole video. And if you feel like your mind is being suffocated by this type of environment, subscribe here so we can keep shedding light on these dark places together.